Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Avini Vibes. Today is May 29, 2025. I'm your host, Christine Rolando, and I am in Warwick, New York. I'm on the border of northern New Jersey. Before the house was built next to us, I could literally stand in two states at once. So it's pretty cool. So somebody built next to us, but it's okay. I can still get to Pennsylvania in probably about 15 minutes and be in New Jersey and New York. So that's what I call the tri-state area. We're excited to have Carol Witt, our co-host, with us. Guess what? For those of you regulars that come to Avini Vibes, we might be a little light tonight. We do not have my sponsor, I call EQ, Eddie Kowalski. Eddie is working with his church this evening, which is wonderful. And our dear Chip Littlejohn is out at a dance recital for one of his grandchildren. So Chip is not going to be with us either. So, the numbers fluctuate. We were having discussion before this. Sometimes we have 65, sometimes we have 50. But those of you that are here, grateful that you took the time to be with us. And those of you, any guests in the house? I see Jonesy's in the house. I don't know if Viola, I don't know if you're a guest. I see we do have Sherry in the house. She's a distributor from Fort Worth. So it's exciting to see some familiar faces, but also some new names. And if you want to go on camera, we'd love to see your face so we can get to know you. And of course, what this company does best is support you. We are just so fortunate that we have a company that supports the distributors and supports, cross line, up line, side line, down line, any line you want. We are all there to support, educate, and help one another. Now, I do want to make sure that we don't make any medical claims, we don't diagnose, or we don't treat. We're here to learn, to listen, to share, and to be educated and learn from one another. What I'll ask you to do is just mute yourself if you would. And then as I move through after our guest speaker tonight, Lisa D'Alessandro is going to speak to us on gut health. Then we'll open it up a little bit for some conversation, and we'll open it up to hear if you want to ask Lisa a question. But again, we're grateful that you're here. So with that said, um, Lisa's going to talk tonight about gut health, which she knows very intimately. And I know it's hard to see well, you can't see it because of my camera, but this
Yeah, we can
book,
see it.
okay,
We
you
can
can
see
see
it.
this book. Has anybody
Yeah.
gotten the book yet? This is the book by Brenda L. High, and it's Heavy Metals, Chemicals, and Hidden Toxins. I just ordered it. A cleaner, healthier, happier, detox body can heal itself. And that's what Avini has, the best products on planet Earth that can really take out the heavy metals and detox our body. Alan's shaking his head up and down. I love. And that's what we're here to do is to, as Chip would say, a healthier body, but a younger version of ourselves. And, last night we were on a call with Marcy Littlejohn, and she's not with us this evening either, but I just told Pat Tracy from Texas, she looks like she's getting younger every day. She really does. And I mean that from my heart. So it's pretty cool that we're seeing transformation in all of us. We've seen transformation of each and every one of you that have been on this Avini Vibes for a couple years. And for you newbies, just stay with us, and you'll see the same for yourself. But be consistent. Don't start and stop and start and stop. All right. Important that we are consistent. Our special guest tonight is a friend of mine that I've known for, goodness, 20 years maybe. We've crossed paths. We live in the same town. Knew Lisa. We've come in and out of one another's lives, but because we are both interested in wellness and health, we came across each other again. And Lisa is a very, very smart person, a very knowledgeable woman in her field. She works in the field of gut health and nutrition, and she works with energy healing as well. And before I let Lisa come on board, I just want to thank you for those of you who have reached out for Craig, my husband. I haven't been here in the last 2 weeks. His surgery went well. He's had two of them in the last 2 weeks on the same procedure, but what's amazing is they can move a back muscle into your bicep, is what they did. So he's got a big lat muscle right here in his bicep, and it's healing nicely. And Lisa knows that because Lisa's come to our home to work on Craig on some healing property. So, Lisa D'Alessandro, welcome, welcome, welcome. We'd like to open the floor up and share a little bit about how you got involved with Avini, why you got involved in Avini, and talk of why important is gut health. Please, welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Christine, for that awesome uh, introduction. And I am so blessed to have known you and come around again. It isn't any coincidences when we meet people in our paths. And I've been blessed to find a lot of advancements in this natural healing field along my own journey. I've been in this field, holistic wellness practitioner, for 30 years. I just kind of everything evolves. One door opens when you need it. And I got involved with Avini, being that I'm all about the gut brain liver axis. And my healing journey, like I said, goes back. And I was working with a chiropractor aligned with him, and 30 years ago, and I did hair mineral tests. So I knew about heavy metals, nutrient deficiencies, and what I knew back then, I just kind of winged it on my own. And I used to do liver gallbladder flushes, coffee enemas to try to keep my body in balance and taking out those heavy metals. I had osteopenia at an early age. I did not. And all of those things are so time consuming. So with the advancements that we're finding today, Christine kept saying zeolite, and I'm like, I know zeolite, I know zeolites, but I didn't really know zeolites until I was exposed to mold as I was doing a move last year, and had exposure. I opened up old packages of pictures and just old paperwork from 30 years of accumulation, and got mold spores in my eyes, got a virus in my eyes, and I had a postnasal drip, and my ears started ringing. So that's when I decided to look further into the zeolite, and was amazed at all of Dr. Rick's formulations. No sooner did I get on the product, and my eyes, the inflammation from my eyes disappeared, the ringing toned down dramatically, which I had never had that before. And yes, it's just a process. So I know that your gut is controlling everything, your energy, your mood, your metabolism, your absorption of nutrients. And the gut is our second brain. So I'm really, again, supportive of mental health, because I was going down that boulevard as well. 20 years ago, when I had my last son, I thought I was getting dementia. And I always, used nutrition and stuff like that with my family. But then it was like at the age of 1, and me doing all the organics, never breastfeeding, organic foods, he became this headbanging baby boy at the age of 1. So I can tell you, when you heal and seal a gut and give your body what it needs, you really can turn, your mental cognition around. My boys are now in college, always high honor roll, they've just flourished. But why I love Azini and really know that they're the missing piece to wellness, because if we're not, your body is just overloaded with toxins. When I do these mineral and hair analysis with people now, they're like, where? Where from? What? How much? And they're like so blown away by how much heavy metals are in the body. And we just don't realize how overburdened our livers are today. And those pathways are not supported. We're just pretty much recycling all those toxins back into our bodies. So it is, just a plethora of heavy metals, chemicals, mold toxins, pesticides, all that metabolic waste that really just messes with us. And I always use the saying, kind of, you want to build on a healthy foundation. You're not on a landfill. So you don't remodel a home that has termites in the walls. You really have to kind of restabilize everything, rebuild. And the same logic here with Avini. I mean, to have this zeolite that we can easily and efficiently take without so much of, taking away all the necessary minerals that we're already deprived of. Our food system, our diets, we're really missing a lot of minerals. So having the fiber that's around, that we have to support scrubbing and healing the gut as well is so important because, again, the gut is ground zero. Your microbiome is where all these signaling pathways from your immune system and nervous system emanate. That 60 to 90% of your neurotransmitters, those hormones, those serotonin, dopamine, GABA, they're all produced in the gut and they're going, north to the brain. So if we're not taking care of eliminating and removing all of the chronic inflammation that comes along with our American diets are basically processed food, processed meats, all kinds of fake foods, chemicals, additives are, we're basically Americans consume rice, that is full of arsenic, corn, GMO, genetically modified. Our grains are sprayed with glyphosate. That in itself is destroying more guts and brains, puncturing holes in our guts. So most Americans don't realize that we're walking around with leaky, inflamed, dysbiotic guts. And when I talk about dysbiotic guts, and that's the bacteria, so we have more bad bacteria versus good bacteria. And when we have heavy metals, we have parasites that are just, thriving. They're nutrient stealers. If I like how Dr. Rick puts it, that we all have chemicals and toxins if we're eating, breathing, drinking, all of that. But we all have parasites if we have a pulse as well, because they are just festering inside of us. So, with the nano silver that we have that can take down and take out some of these parasites from the body and the mold and all of those, really, all of the metabolic waste that needs to come out is so, so critical for,
Lisa, I have a question. And
Mhm.
someone texts me and they're listening in. The fiber and a leaky gut. How would one know that they have leaky gut? What would be some of the symptoms that they might experience?
Any kind of chronic pain? Do you have an autoimmune condition, diabetes, weight gain, any kind of chronic inflammation? So it's not just about aging, but brain fog, any kind of, are you suffering from anxiety, overwhelm, stress? Basically, that lining, because it's exposed to so many, and there's so many food substances, leaky gut syndrome really, if you suffer from fatigue, I mean, that could be in itself one of the things, because when all of those toxins are going past that barrier and going into our cells themselves, it's just messing with our mitochondria because toxins and inflammation block all of our cell receptor sites. So that excessive permeability can be from any number of autoimmune conditions, mental health issues, allergies, uh, asthma, respiratory problems, bloating, digestive discomforts, um, cancer, cardiovascular disease, let's see, inflammatory bowel disease, food sensitivities that go along with it. And it's not just sometimes removing, it is important that we remove things, and people say, well, I eat healthy, but are we following that anti-inflammatory diet as well? So are we eliminating all of the, sugars, the fake sugars, alcohol, your processed foods again? Are you really eating that diverse diet that our bodies need that really, feed into the good bacteria? So like our fiber product, it has inulin in there, which is a part of it, like a short chain fatty acid, butyrate that supports our brain function, our immune system, and basically gets to our large intestine. It goes past our small intestine, doesn't get digested there, and it just helps colonize good bacteria in the gut. So there's that formulation is just, brilliant in itself. How he has prebiotic in there and like a postbiotic fibers. I think of apple, carrot, all of those, fermentable fibers that really support good, good colon and gut health.
Do you think most Americans get enough fiber, daily fiber?
Not,
How many
not
pieces
enough.
of fruit you have to eat a
Just
day, right?
everybody, yeah. And when we do, are we eating diversified? Because usually it's, where we have particular diets. So we are not getting the amount of fiber needed. And all of that fiber and again, it's just supporting, good colonies of bacteria versus all of the bad bacteria because again, we're more so, would you choose pizza over, a salad or, our food and our choices, our standard American diet, hamburgers with buns and, French fries and, all of that. So you have a question? Okay.
Sue, you have a question or you waving? Unmute if you have a question, Sue.
No, I was waving at everybody because I was late.
Oh,
Sorry.
We're going to take a poll and see what y'all had for dinner. So, it's a little scary when you're also when you're going out to dinner a lot because you can't always control things. And not that, I was in New York City for a couple days at the hospital and I tried to look up restaurants or places that I had to eat that had organic food. But you always can't control that to the best of your ability. Even things when they say they're this or they're that, I think it's important that we do pay attention to the labels, right? You were just talking about rice and arsenic. Now, this group probably knows that there's rice used in arsenic at low minimal doses, acceptable doses, but it's that bioaccumulation of eating that on a regular basis, right? Right, Lisa?
that's right. And it's being consistent too towards, healing the gut and following, those a good anti-inflammatory diet. And then also, are people taking enough vitamin D3? I mean, that's responsible in enough for the tight junctions to keep the integrity of the gut wall. And there's a lot of, things that we need to heal the gut, like L-glutamine, and are we taking, different and supporting digestion as well, which is so important as well, uh, getting there. So, um, Dr. Rick's formulation where he's with this plus balance too, I think was really, a beautiful, brilliant thing to, that we have too, because most people don't realize that we're taking in so much on a daily basis and that our livers are really not well supported. And those B vitamins, most people today, about 60% of the population, especially the younger generations, who we know that as mamas, we're passing on toxins to our children. And each microbiome with each generation is just getting worse because we're not taking in the adequate nutrition, so our babies aren't getting that. And then all the toxins, is not setting them up for a good microbiome. That's why we're seeing and all this toxic overload. We're seeing such gene mutations come around. So a lot of people, 60 to 70%, have genetic mutations that also disrupt the liver's detoxing pathways and make it more sluggish. So the bees actually are very supportive for opening up those detox pathways. So that's, you know, a beautiful thing because we're not eating a lot of cruciferous vegetables because those sulfur-rich vegetables are ones that do support those phase detox pathways. So being diverse in eating the rainbow, eating the different vegetables and fruits and your quality, what I call just like think of it as your best friends, but you want your quality PFFs. So you want your quality proteins, you want your quality fats, you want your quality fiber and fermented foods. So how many people eat fermented foods with their meal? And it just takes a tablespoon or so just to get, feed into that, constant feeding into that good bacteria and microbiome. Um, so
Someone asked me today, I gave her, Kathy, many of you know Kathy Kay, she comes on the call and I give her these pads for her dad is elderly. And she said, let me pay you for them. And I said, don't be silly. She says, no, they cost you money. I said, you could pay me in sauerkraut because she makes this amazing sauerkraut,
that's
and kimchi. So, I love those two things are amazing, kimchi and sauerkraut. So the
that
fermented foods are so critical. Thank you for sharing that.
No, it is so important. And everybody talks hormone balance, and you can't have good hormone balance without good gut health. You just can't. Those two go hand in hand. So it's also a matter of you know, we are, just burdened with toxins. We're living in an overly toxic society, an overstressed society, and stress alone dysregulates the autonomic nervous system, and that messes with motility. It messes with the antimicrobial peptides that our gut needs, and gastric secretions of hydrochloric acid to break down our foods. So if you suffer with any kind of indigestion, that is something to think about that, is important to also support, good digestive function if you want good gut health as well. So some people need to take, if you have autoimmunity, I always suggest being on enzymes, digestive enzymes. If you experience nauseousness, stuff with eating, it could be a sluggish liver, it could be your stomach, just with some lack of good bile flow from the liver itself can cause that. So we see a lot of women, especially with gallbladder surgery. And that is a lot has to do with the dysfunction of blood sugar and your liver health as well. And that's, again, we need every organ. We need, it serves its purpose. But, I deal with a lot of people with autoimmunity, and it really does take healing and sealing the gut. And I do have a blueprint for that. If anybody is interested, they can contact me with that.
I'd be interested, Lisa.
What was that?
I'm sorry. I don't know if someone asked a
I
question or
would be
you just.
interested in that blueprint. So I'll talk to you
Okay.
offline.
What we'll do is we'll put it in the chat, okay? We'll put it in the chat. Lisa, when at the end, maybe when Gary's going to speak a little bit, you could put that info in the chat if you don't mind, how they can
Yeah,
get the blueprint. Yeah,
yeah,
because it is tricky it is tricky. And that's why I think a lot of people are afraid to get started because you go, where do I even start? Where do I even start? But you can start one step at a time and taking this advice. And first
right.
step is again, you're cleaning the body with the cell defender, adding the fiber, you're doing those things. And now she's going to give us a blueprint as well. So we appreciate that. Keep going. I'm sorry, but I just wanted
So,
to add
no,
that.
no. So yes. So most people again do have, unless you've been on the fiber and this, our Avini products for a while, and following, you could be, really have a leaky, inflamed gut. And it does take certain things to, heal it. But I guess, you know, the gut, I don't know where to begin here. So, um, I think most people, have to realize too, most people, we're not ill, we're really infected. And again, it is because of heavy metals and all these chemicals that a lot of viruses, molds, and these parasites proliferate the way they do. So, and bad bacteria does what it does in the body. So, um, again, I love that we just have more than the cell defender, which is absolutely first and foremost, I believe, for, getting into the body and resetting here and rebuilding. And that fiber, I honestly love the fiber for the fact that it really does do an amazing job. I've been doing parasite and heavy metal cleanses for a long time. And let me tell you, that fiber was the first time after I had taken it for a week that I actually seen parasites go. And I also do passing that, and I also do biofrequency scans. So I do heavy metal or hair mineral analysis scans, but I do biofrequency scans. And that gives me a readout. So when I can show people you have these metals, this mold that you're dealing with, it lists like 72 parasites. And when I first started Avini and I took it, I had 18 listed there. 18. And it took me a couple weeks and I was down to five. Five. But it's ongoing because, parasites are constantly laying eggs. So it's not like, some people say, being on the fiber for a month. No, this, again, healing is not linear. We're all bio-individual. It is a journey, but it is something, again, that, taking this and being on this kind of, program and protocol is, really purposeful, and just to keep us in that healthy state. And so that we can fight off all of these viruses that we have, going around and all of these, diseases, that, can really knock us down. And I can tell you as, um, I found out when my son, my fourth child, was born, that because he became that headbanging baby boy and I couldn't find out what was wrong with him, doctors couldn't give me answers. So I brought him to a naturopath, and she was like wheat, gluten, soy, dairy, nuts, the whole gambit. And that's where my aha moment was, where it was gluten, which they could never find wrong with me with my GI. So I'm non-celiac, gluten sensitive. I've always teetered with my thyroid, but because I've always, thyroid, heavy metals have an affinity for our nerves, our endocrine glands, especially our thyroid. So I've always kept that balanced, and above, and being able to, keep my autoimmune in reverse, because usually people don't have one autoimmune disorder. It usually starts spiraling downward if they're really not taking their gut health seriously, or if they're not managing their stress load. So there's so much in prevention nowadays that it is so important that we are in a good place, and we know we have to be our own advocates, and we can, take out just by reading labels. And it's not what we're putting in our mouths, but what we're slathering on our bodies. There are endocrine disruptors, what we're cooking with, the nonstick cookware, all the PFOAs in there. Um, we know enough. I think we've heard enough recently on plastics. We all have microplastics in our brain. But it, it is, something again that, the more that we, do for ourselves and remain in balance and, just certain things today are necessary to supplement with. But I don't consider Cell Defender a supplement. It's a mineral, one mineral. And it's just amazing how Dr. Rick has cleaned it up, how it works efficiently in the body. Um, and again, the more that we, work on nurturing and nourishing our body, with more diversity in foods and quality of foods, the more that we're helping all of our, the minerals that we're depleted of. Because again, it's not just toxicity, it's that leads to deficiencies in our body. And deficiencies lead to dis-ease. So, um, yeah, I don't know if any
Thank you.
question.
Let's open it up for questions. How's that? Okay. That was wonderful, Lisa. Thank you for sharing. For some people, it might be the start. For some people, it might be the continuing journey. But I know that most of you here are using the Cell Defender, and you're on the right path. So, who's got a question? Just on Gary got a question, and then we'll go to Tiara.
Yes, I see Richard's hand is up, but my question is, say more about the thyroid. And I'm asking because family members who live in the Midwest versus some of us who live on the coast, some would say that that would have an impact, but it seems like we're all suffering from it. So I'd like to hear what you have to say about how to counteract non-functioning thyroids.
Right. So thyroids, usually when I'm working with people with thyroid dis-ease or dysfunction there, definitely if you have antibodies for Hashimoto's or anything like that, absolutely you must remove the wheat. And I can give you 10 good reasons and have information on the wheat, but your body will just keep attacking the thyroid if you still eat that grain. But yes, it has everything to do with heavy metals. It has everything to do with your adrenals and stress, and of course, gut imbalances. So, um, obviously, getting rid of the heavy metals, but a lot of it is people don't realize, is it the water that you're drinking as well? Because so many people who live in cities are drinking, chlorinated water with fluoride and heavy metals, and which, is really awful for, thyroid health. So whether or not you have filters on your water, including your shower, because people are bathing in it constantly. So a lot of it is removing those endocrine disruptors with that. But a lot of people sometimes, again, not taking the holistic approach to it. And it is a body-mind connection, a lot working with stress. And in itself, you have to calm the nervous system. You have to prioritize your body, slowing down, taking time just to reduce the stress alone with that. So it, and a lot of people think that they're eating, again, they're eating healthy and they're not doing a right protocol for supporting your digestion and your gut healing. And again, it does take a little bit more of just removing things. You have to replace and rebuild it. So you do have to be following an anti-inflammatory diet. I've given up the grain for what is it, almost 20 years now. And it's our grains are not the same. Um, you can't wash off that glyphosate that's sprayed on it. So sometimes it is not maybe the gluten, but it is the glyphosate. So it is really internally cleansing the body and working on adrenals. If people also, especially women, who it affects so much because we seem to take on the world. We wear so many hats. And if we're really not kind of nourishing our body and mind again, that can lead to that kind of dysfunction.
Thank you, Lisa. Tiara, you have a question? Why don't you go ahead and unmute, Tiara, and then we'll go
Yes.
to.
Wonderful, Lisa. Thank you so much for
Go
this.
ahead, we can hear
Uh,
her.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, ask your
Okay,
question.
wonderful. Thank you so much for this, Lisa. Great information. My question is with the product package, the nutritional information. Are we privy to that too? Because with you get the products, but with these like the glyphosate, the wheat grain, and other food products that you were speaking of, if we're not following those steps, we could be running into some issues again with inflammation and dysregulation. So that's my only question.
Right. So it's true. I mean, the zeolite works amazingly, quickly, and it does take out. But if you are already, compromised in your well-being, it is true that sometimes it's better to have somebody coaching you and, leading your hand in helping you, you know, understand why the systemic inflammation is running amok and how everyday food sources are really, causing so much disruption and really taking on, a
Thank you.
protocol
Thank you.
for healing. And that's why people are always chasing symptoms. And it is
Yes.
important, again, that we're getting to the root of the issues. And that's where you have to find someone, that like myself or, who's a little bit savvy and can help you walk through and really rebuild foundationally a good, solid, um, you know, healthy
A
system.
regimen, yeah. Okay, well that sounds excellent. And yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Tiara. And I think to Lisa's point, yeah, it's not about, just doing cell defender, just doing fiber. This is all encompassing, right? We all have to do the things. We got to sleep, we got to eat, we got to eat the right foods, we have to rest, we have to do those, that full circle. So it's not one of more, it's a little bit of each to be comprehensive of what you're saying. And I know Lisa, I've heard Lisa lecture many, many, many times. She was such an influence on my daughter. When my daughter was about 16, my daughter was diagnosed with something as a young adult, and they wanted to put her on a chemical as a young girl. I think she was 15. And I know she chatted with Lisa, and she intrigued her with, the right foods to eat, to work with her body through the food sources that can help to heal. So it's a big influence now because Lisa was one of those people that did. She heard her speak and influence her. So thank you for that. Richard, you have a question, please.
Yeah, thank you,
Unmute.
Christine. Yeah, Lisa, great information. I'm really picking up on a lot of stuff that you're saying tonight. I've got two questions. An example of digestive enzyme, is that the sauerkraut?
No, digestive enzymes. So there's certain enzymes are like the catalyst to we have two kinds of enzymes. We have digestive enzymes and metabolic enzymes. So digestive enzymes will support breaking down and helping you digest your proteins, your fats, your carbs, your cellulose, vegetable fibers. So they break down those compounds a little bit easier. So our system, we want our metabolic health is responsible for so much. And when our digestive system is sluggish or compromised, your digestive system, your body's digestive system is just working 24/7 to process all of these foods, and it's not giving your metabolic engine a chance to to thrive and to break down foods and to give you, the sustainable energy that you need, or, and do what the body's designed to do. So by supporting your body with good digestive enzymes, that is, supporting the digestive and gut health regimen that is super important.
Okay, the other question is, I'm hearing what you're saying about getting off the wheat. Would Ezekiel bread be a better choice since it's made with seeds?
For some, people can sustain it, and it is a better choice. I had actually went down that path myself. Was before I knew I had non-celiac um, gluten issue. I made my own breads. I made, and tried Ezekiel bread, and it just caused, for some people, for me, it caused more constipation. For other people's, it's seeds, nuts, it's fiber. It can be good. I think the best thing out there now is your sourdough breads that you can purchase. But yeah, you want to skip the breads with the bromate in it as well. And that's just all these chemicals in there. Obviously, lots of them have the high fructose corn syrup in there as well. But it is a better choice, and it might work for you. And it's worth trying to see how, your body handles it. But I think there's nothing like good organic sourdough bread out there as
So
well.
I'm a fan of these Triscuit crackers, but maybe I better quit eating those, huh?
There are good apps like Yucca apps, and you can get them on your phone. And I highly suggest that, because when you're reading, and that's the thing, if you cannot pronounce anything on that label, more than likely it is a chemical additive and it's not going to be good for you. So, and honestly, today there is so many health food stores. There's so many seeded crackers. Um, my son's girlfriend just brought me one. She goes, "My mother found these for you, and they're delicious. And it's flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, all kinds of good seeds, and they were crispy and crunchy, and
Mary's, I like Mary's.
they were better than Mary."
Yeah, that's good.
And they're good for you?
And they're good for you, yes, because you want more of the seeds and fibers and legumes, and all of those plant fibers are going to, again, feed into that good bacteria in your gut to really, help you thrive. There's so much with plant foods versus animal foods too. Plant foods have a lot of phytic acid in them that, depletes a lot of the nutrition as well. So that's, again, why we need to be diverse with what we're
Boy,
eating.
Christine, you're so lucky to have this girl as your friend. She is just loaded with knowledge.
I know, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wish
we
I could
are.
come and see you. I would pay to see you.
You can come to New York. We're going to do a regional in New York. Neil doesn't know it yet, but I'm harping on him. I ask him every day. Not yet, but we will get there. Thank you, Richard, for that question. Thank you, Lisa. In light of time, I would like to give uh, let's see, avoid grains. Okay, one more question. We'll go to Hannah with one more question, and then we're gonna switch gears a little bit, and we're gonna talk about something else that Gary's gonna share. Go ahead, Hannah.
Lisa, thank you so very much. And what I love about this call with the Avini Vibes is that we introduce individuals like you, practitioners, and that's how they learn about Avini. And I definitely want to send this out to everyone that I know that's involved with nutrition and the gut, etc. And would love for you to share in regards to how valuable Avini is with the education, with the master classes, and just this, that we're all in communication with each other and with, because that you just don't find that with other companies.
Right. No, it is rare. I've been aligned with some other companies as well. And this is, everything is so transparent. We are here supporting one another as a community, and it comes down to just in life. It takes a team, and just where we can learn these little nuggets along the way, because this is not, you know, so much of this has been for so long, and it isn't till, you know, RFK and Make America Healthy Again. A lot of this is all coming out, and we're seeing more and more what we've always known for so long, but it's been, so quiet what these food companies are doing to us. And all, not only food companies, everywhere. I mean, it's just, it's so sad because it is, crimes against humanity here, as far as I'm concerned, with what what they've allowed and they've gotten away with. And yes, we were born into this matrix. I'm right there. I grew up on Dinty Moore stew and what Wonder Breads and all of these Drake's Hostess cakes. And my mother never cooked at all. She was like, "Where did you come from?" And yes, I was loaded with medals. I mean, used to play out there when they were spraying for the moss. Mercurochrome. Remember Mercurochrome putting that on us? What else? I mean, there's so much, with toxicities and mercury in our fillings. It's the list goes on, and we wonder why there's such a mental health issue right now. I mean, so much also from gum disease. So, it is just the oral bacteria in our, mouth, and that's why I love the nano silver as well, because it's not just your gut, but it's your oral hygiene as well. And look at people with gum diseases and all these going for root canals and what it does to them and how it drives bacteria down into the system. So we've got the nano silver, and I can't wait to get the gel to brush my teeth with as well. But the nano silver, and that's why I'm like, anybody who's coming on with me, I'm like, no, you have to do the whole kit and caboodle. It is so important, Yes, we can just do the cell defender and it will work, but are we taking down again a lot of the mold, the pathogens, and supporting us? So, why do something to me? Why do something half? you know.
And also, what was the test that you did? It was a bio.
So
Bioscan.
it's a bioresonance frequency scan. So
Okay.
about that, I've been an alternative energy healer for a long time. I've kind of been through breakthrough products before. I was working with red light therapy and doing needleless acupuncture before anybody knew what red light therapy was. I've been doing frequency scans for a long time. That honestly, we are energetic electrical beings. So the same way as we, use our cell phones, we're here, talking to one another through this device. We have frequency machines that can read the imbalances to our cells' frequency. So everything has a frequency. And when we can see all the systems of the body, we can see nutritional deficiencies, we can see where, mold and parasites, all of these things are off in the body. We can kind of support those weakened pathways by doing certain things. But this AO device that I have, I can also work with people virtual, which is nice. And I can send you frequencies to correct some of the imbalances as well. And also do like work with inner voice and our emotions. So on a holistic scheme of things, it's a really incredible device.
I think that's a whole nother topic for another night,
Yeah.
because we could spend 2 hours on that for sure. So, but with in light of time, we only have a few more minutes. Lisa, right? Everybody, thank you so much. So much knowledge, so much wisdom, and nobody's going to be eating grain any longer, right? No, no more wheat bread. Gary, would you mind stepping up? This is a different topic, just though I want Gary to share and last night we were on the call with Marcy for her business call, and it was really kind of interesting because she talked about some of the benefits. You know, benefits. We just talked about benefits from Cell Defender, benefits from fiber. But Gary, in a nutshell, you got a few minutes. Can you kind of wrap us up with that? You're a chip tonight on the benefits, if you
Okay,
don't
thank you.
mind.
Thank you, Christine. Yes, last night was a great call that Marcy put on, and there's a recording of it. So go to avinihealthtraining.com, look for May 28th, and you'll see the recording. Now, Marcy started off with a list of things. So let's talk about there's the compensation plan. You get paid weekly for your retail sales as well as for your activation packs. You then get a monthly check. There are no gotchas like in other companies. So, for example, there's no sign up fee, there's no renewal fee, there's no fee to get paid for the month like there are in other companies. In addition to the to what we get paid on in terms of the commission, there's a rank up bonus when you achieve an executive level within the rank. There's a one-time rank up bonus. And then when you become a sapphire, then you get and I'm looking at this compensation plan on the back side where it has all the definitions. It has the leadership matching bonus for anybody who's sapphire or higher. That is incredible, 7%. And then for the grandchildren of that group, it's a 5% paid out monthly to the people who've achieved sapphire on their organization that they brought in. Then let's go to some of the trainings. There are calls 6 days a week. On Saturday, it's a Zoom, but there's a call every weekday morning at 11 a.m. Lots of information from product information to testimonials. All of those are benefits, and all of this is what's with my voice all of a sudden. And there's all this training available.
Go ahead,
And
clear your
there's
throat. I can talk for a minute while you clear your throat. It must have been the swimming pool and all that chlorine. There you go. Yeah, Gary was swimming. I called him up and said, Gary, I need you to jump on with me tonight. So he was in the pool. So he's back. Go ahead, Gary.
okay. So the the avinihealthtraining.com site is just a masterpiece of information and testimonials, and it's there, and everything I'm talking about, it's at no fee for us as distributors, and that's just wonderful. We can also send our customers there. So Marcy went on and she listed, at one point she was at 31 different points of listing the benefits. And there's some others that were on the call, like Richard. So chime in, Richard, if you think of a few things, and or Christine. But but to get the full impact, go to the avinihealthtraining.com site, look for the Wednesday night, and this was last night, so that'd be May 28th, and find the recording. And the first segment of that training last night was listing all of these benefits. And the other thing I want to mention is when we purchase products on AutoShip, we get reward points. So we get reward points for our purchases, but our customers do too. And it's figured at 20% approximately the value of the purchase. That money gets set aside, then you can not purchase, you can receive products by redeeming those bonus points. So there's so much that Avini offers, and it doesn't have the gotchas. So one last point I want to make is that the CEO does a monthly update, Neil Roth. The other executives of the company are available. There are summits twice a year. In the past, they've been in Las Vegas and in Texas. And then there are the regional events, as Christine is hinting at. There's going to be one soon in New York, but we've had them across the country. And the upcoming one is June 21st in Salt Lake City. So that's where information is presented. And when Rick is on stage, he's talking about the products. He's just provides a master class. What I like about it, he's got the technology and the verbiage, but he can talk to us as lay people. And what could be better than that? So back to you, Christine. Richard or somebody else want to jump in
Well,
with
you did
anything
a
I
good
left out?
job. You did a good job, Gary. The only thing is we have a personal trainer in MJ Durkin, and we can contact our leadership like Rick, Neil, Mickey. We have access to that. Um, we do all our manufacturing in-house. She mentioned we can sign up and get involved in international superior customer service, and I have leaned on them myself. Yeah, but it was a great call because in the past it was either Mickey or somebody where maybe it was Neil. We're talking about get paid 5 ways, but Marcy took it to a new level with like you say, 31 different points about getting involved in this company. So I'm certainly not disappointed.
Thank you, Richard. No, it was a great call, and I didn't know where she was going in the beginning, but it was so much value. So many people jumped in to share just the camaraderie alone, the connections we've made. I don't know if any of you have ever been in Rotary or BNI, but when you're in any of those groups, civic organization, Carol, you wear the Rotary, you drink the Kool-Aid, but this is different. Where we're all in one big family to support one another. I leaned on Shu today yesterday, and I said, can you do me a favor and do a call with Steve Lacoste? Steve is new here. He was on the call last night, but those two put together cross line. But I appreciate all the help that we each give each other. We're in this together. So thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, guests, for being here. Quick announcement: the summit is August 14th, 15th, and 16th. I think the 14th is that training that is additional. If you weren't in Las Vegas last time, the tickets are going to close out at that deep discount. So I think the 14th is that training. You do pay $50 extra, but it's well worth it. Good tips and advice from many of the leaders. And the coming up month is on Avini Vibes. We're going to have some really cool guests on some business strategies. So we'll still touch on the products initially. We'll have EQ back, but we're going to do some really cool business strategies on the month of June. If you want to be a feature, if you have a story to tell, please reach out to me. And let me know. We'd love to have you on. And I just want to thank each and every one of you always for making my night, Thursday nights, a special night on Avini Vibe. So God bless you. Lisa, thanks again. We'll see you all next week. And don't forget to get on those 11 o'clock calls in daytime, Eastern, 11 Eastern. All right. God bless you. Good
Thank
night,
you,
everybody.
Christine.
Thank you, Lisa.
Hi, guys.
Thank you, Carol.
Bye,
Good job,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Feeling for you.
Lisa.
Richard,
Thank you.
Richard, stay on. Stay on, Richard. I got a question for you.
Okay.
So we're no
We're about
longer
to end
being
the
recorded,
recording.
right?
Oh, hold on. Let me stop.